Hello, my name is Octavius with North American Archery. Today we're going to talk about, is compound bow sinful? My hands are burning. Stay tuned. Hello guys, this is Octavius with North American Archery. Thank you so much for tuning into our channel. Today, like you've seen, we're going to talk about if compound bows are sinful. I'm just having a little fun. Please don't get offended. But the thing is that as a trad archer for years now, I want to discuss this because to say that these bows are bad and sinful or evil or not no good to shoot is not a complete perspective, in my opinion. And I'm going to give you 8 reasons why I think it's fine for somebody to shoot a compound bow if they really want to. Okay, guys? Now, one of the things you need to know about me is that I came from compound. This is the last bow that I ever have owned, and I held on to it partly because I couldn't sell it. It's a Fred Bear, and I'm not even sure the name of it. It's a TRX 400 by Fred Bear. It is definitely a heavy bow. Has a stabilizer on it, has a trophy ridge sight on it, just a whisker biscuit on it. Got a little wrist strap, and it's an old school bow. It's probably from the early 2000s, and I held on to this bow partly because I couldn't sell it and I tried to sell it, but somebody didn't want to buy it from me, so I just kept on to it. I actually had a hard time finding this bow. It was in my shop behind a bunch of paint cans, so that tells you all you need to know about when the last time I shot this thing. But I felt like I needed to do something on this topic because so many people are downing the compound bow guys, and me coming from compound over to traditional archery years ago in the early 2000s, I wouldn't know what traditional archery was if I didn't start with this bow. So without further ado, let me set this bow down and let me give you these 8 reasons. Number 1, compound bows are the way most people get started in archery. So I just shared with you just now that how I got started in traditional archery was first compound bows. Now, it used to be back in the day, you would get a little bear, and that little bear, which is a bow by Bear Archery, it's a recurve bow, and they're usually about 20, maybe 25 pounds for the poundage, about 42, I think, or 48 inches long. And you would give that to a kid, or you give him a long bow, or you would go out shooting with them with a bow that's lighter poundage, like a 20-pound bow, and he would get started in traditional archery. This is back in the 50s and the 60s and 70s and early 80s. But nowadays, how kids get started is with a compound bow, and honestly, how most adults get started is in compound shooting, like myself. So I'm not down on compound bows like a lot of people are in our fraternity, in the trad gang, I like to call it, because it gets us started. It gets us having a itch to want to go out and shoot our bows. So compound shooting is not bad, guys. It is something that is an entry level into archery. And I know that a lot of guys just put their bows down. They don't shoot after hunting season, and they don't even care about archery. They don't care about shooting their bow until it's time to get in the tree stand. I understand that, and I was one of those guys. But it is the new way that people get into archery, and it's the way that we should respect and give them an opportunity to make that transition. Number 2 is most serious compound archers own a trad bow. Most of my buddies that still go out and shoot a compound bow, as far as in their hunting situations, as well as their archery situations where there's a 3D shooting or whatever it might be, they are also owning a trad bow. They're getting into compound shooting for years, but then they kind of cheat on compound and go out and get a traditional bow. So when I saw that, I thought about myself. Before I made the transition, I had several different bows that were compound. But then I started out shooting long bows and I shot recurves, and then I kind of made the transition within a year of shooting compound. Now, one of the things about me you need to understand, I've killed a lot of animals with compound bows. I've shot many 3D tournaments with compound bows. I can set a bare compound bow up from scratch. I know what sights to get. I know what rests to get. I know how to set it up in a bow press and all these different things to change the strings out. And there's all kinds of things that I could do if I really wanted to. But as soon as I made the transition to traditional archery, I never wanted to look back. But at first, I was flirting with that until I made that transition. So a lot of serious compound shooters own a trad bow. They may even go out late season bow hunting with a traditional bow. And when they go out, it's something that is kind of a, at first maybe a novelty or see if they can get it done. But as soon as they harvest that first animal, like I did with a traditional bow, they'll never go back a lot of the times to exclusively a compound bow. Then you have some guys that are traditional bow hunters or traditional archers in general that have a compound bow like myself, but unlike me, they shoot it every now and then with their buddies, their friends. They may even go out west to hunt animals 40, 50, 60 yards away. And so there's both sides of the coin. So this is ease up a little bit, okay? Ease up a little bit. Number 3, many compound shooters end up switching traditional archery. It goes without saying at this point in this video. The thing is, guys, a lot of guys make the switch. They jump over. They do the things necessary to practice throughout the year. They want more of a challenge. For me, it was no longer a challenge for me as an archer to go out and shoot a deer or whatever it is I'm hunting with a compound bow within 30, 40 yards. Easy, okay? Now, fast forward today, I was set up in an area this hunting season where I thought was going to be very successful, but I wasn't close enough. And I remember thinking to myself, if I had a compound bow, I would be able to shoot a flat trajectory arrow through the brush and smoke these buck that were bedded down in an area I was hunting. So I have to use different woodsmanship skills. I have to get closer to the animal. And sometimes that can be kind of tough with traditional equipment. But even me, sometimes I sit there in the tree stand all day freezing my tail off thinking, man, if I would just brought a compound bow, this would be already done. But then immediately I cast that thought down because I know that I'm a traditional only type guy. And so some people won't do that. They'll just go ahead and go get the compound bow and go out there the next evening and shoot them a big buck. But for me, I want the challenge of it. And so a lot of guys, once they are very successful with a compound bow, they'll actually make the switch to traditional archery like myself and like many of you, and then they don't want to go back. And they're done. And they're forever a trad bow guy. And so make sure that you understand that a lot of guys will make the switch. Number 4, some compound shooters just want to hunt archery. It's not their focus. It's not their focus, guys, to just shoot a bow every week or every day or every month all year long. They want something that they can go out and go bow hunting when they want to and not get so caught up in archery all through the year based on time, based on the energy they have, maybe health concerns, maybe they have other hobbies. They don't want to shoot archery all year. That was kind of like me when I used to bow hunt a lot back in the day with compound bows. I liked the fact that I could set the bow down, pick it up a week before hunting season and go out and shoot. But when I kept doing that repeatedly, it became something that was not a challenge, and it became something that it wasn't as fun. It became mundane, kind of routine. Versus now in traditional archery, I practice throughout the year and I can see them getting better. I'm getting better woodsmanship. I'm able to get up in a tree stand and get close to the animal, or go set a blind up, or right in that draw, right in that funnel, knowing where the deer are going to come at. I had to learn better skills in order to get closer to the animal I'm hunting. And I also had to break some of the bad habits I had of just setting a bow down and thinking I'm going to be successful when the season starts, whether it's 3D or hunting. So compound shooters a lot of times don't have the time, and it takes time to want to make the time. Number 5, the best compound shooters in the world know their craft. We have to respect compound shooters because a lot of them guys really know how to shoot a bow. Some of them I have seen pick up a actual recurve or longbow, and they have good archery form. They have honed their craft. They compete at the highest levels. They win 3D tournaments. They win indoor championships. Some of them have shot in Olympic type situations, and we have to respect that. It takes time to get to that certain level where me and you will grab a compound bow, and we might struggle a little bit. So you need to understand that it's still a respectable sport, even though it's not our cup of tea for many of us. And then number 6, they switch to trad normally in the off season. I remember switching to traditional archery. It was after deer season, and I just went right into traditional archery, and I did not do anything but sell all my bows off, and I kept this one because I couldn't sell it, and that was it. And I just plunged right into traditional archery and never looked back. And I did that in the off season. You won't see a compound shooter usually switch mid-season because they're comfortable with that equipment. So if you have friends of yours that go out hunting, give them some time. If you already sowed the seed, you've already told them exactly how great traditional archery is, but it just might take some time to make the switch, and usually they do that in the off season, whether it's bow season or tournament archery. And then number 7, a recurve bow is usually what a compound archer is most comfortable with. So when somebody makes a transition from compound shooting to traditional archery, they're going to typically use a recurve bow based on the grip. Let me show you right now what I'm talking about. Okay, you see this grip right here? That grip right there is on that Bear archery recurve. You can see how old school this thing is. Okay, haven't shot it in many years. And then you got my baby here, 59 Kodiak. You see that grip right there? You see the similarity? You see it has the indexer, it has the curvature right here, it has the palm swell. Okay, and then you go over here, you can see it has the same indexing, it has the curvature, and then look at the palm swell. Very similar grips. Okay, comfortable grip, heavy bow, and then this is a comfortable grip, not as heavy, but it actually is very similar in the hand if you're shooting it as a compound shooter. And then you come over here to this longbow grip. This is my Bear Montana. You see how straight this is right here? And then you have the indexer right here. This would not be similar. Okay guys, as you can see, the grips are very similar between a compound bow and a recurve. Now obviously a compound bow came after a recurve bow, and so it's been modeled after that, right? A compound bow has been modeled after a recurve grip because it's such a comfortable grip. And so if you're a compound shooter watching this video, make the jump, but make it probably to a recurve because it has more mass weight, it's more dead in the hand, and it's not as lightweight as a longbow grip. And it'll be a smooth transition. You just have to learn the mechanics on how to use a recurve bow at that point. And then number 8, compound shooters learn quickly that us trad bow guys like to shoot each other's bows. A lot of times in traditional archery, we go out to 3D shoots, we do these different things together, and we really want to shoot each other's bows. I remember when I used to go to 3D shoots with compound equipment, we don't shoot each other's bows because there's draw lengths and the sights, and don't shoot a low, you got to shoot my bow a certain way, I'm worried about you doing this, doing that. There's so much tech involved with compound bows that if you go to a 3D shoot, they really don't want you to shoot their bows. But when it comes to us trad guys, I'm telling you right now, every time I go to a 3D shoot, every time I turn around, somebody wants to shoot the bow I have, because it's might be a bow they're thinking about getting, or it might be a bow they've always wanted to shoot, or they just want to do something that sounds fun, which is shoot a bow that they've never shot before. Whatever the reason is, we just like to go out and just shoot each other's bows, and there's no pressure, and it's a very tight-knit community. So guys, I just wanted to share with you today the top 8 reasons I see in my mind, and this is my opinion, on why shooting a compound bow is not sinful, it's not evil, it's just a different type of archery, but it can morph into becoming part of the trad gang. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for your like. Thank you for subscriptions. The channel, like I've always said, is exploding. And I want you to remember something. You don't have to get ready when you stay ready. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.